Ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon and welcome to day 3 of Meet the Farmers Virtual Summit. We are now going to hear a presentation from Mr. Nyambe from ETG on cashew. Over to you, Mr. Nyambe. Please, may you begin.
Thank you very much. Welcome to this presentation. It is a very brief one. Now, what you are seeing there is a combination of the stakeholders within this project. The project is Cashew Infrastructure Development Project. This is a government project funded by African Development Bank. And out here as ETG, we basically have a contract under this project to do a specific task on cashew plantation rejuvenation and establishment. In executing this, we have the Ministry of Agriculture as a key stakeholder, and all our operations are through the Ministry of Agriculture. We also have the Barros Royal Establishment, who are also a major stakeholder in this cashew. Just a snapshot, cashew is not new to Western Province. Those who may were privileged, maybe you do not that the cashews was promoted under the first Republican president, Dr. Kenneth Kaunda. And over the years, basically from the 80s, and over the years, trees were planted, and we reached a stage where production had basically reduced, and most of the trees that were planted some time back ended up being very unproductive, and also the knowledge on how to manage cashew trees was not there or was limited, and the research also was limited. The message was very clear: let's plant cashew trees. And now we have reached a stage where most of the trees that were planted have become unproductive, and also the varieties that were planted, there was no careful selection of what size of nut is going to come out of these trees. Now we are stuck with a situation where most of the nuts from some of the trees is a smaller size, and also it gives headaches. It gives headache to those who are processing. And the ETG interest is basically to revive this cashew industry in the province. As you know, ETG is very strong on cashew, East Africa, West Africa. And our position is that let's work with the relevant stakeholders, government, PRI, and revive this cashew industry in the region and also in the country. Because if we plant good quality trees that will give good quality nuts, we are sure that we are laying a foundation for whoever will be interested in processing in the few years to come. Slide, next. Okay, that's just the scope of work. The biggest component also is on imparting knowledge at community level on cashew agronomy. This is very critical. As you know, cashew is a new crop, and we are working to basically ensure that the camp officers in all the 10 districts where cashew is being implemented have the necessary agronomical knowledge on cashew. Also, the farmer group leaders in the communities have also the knowledge. So just a snapshot, this project out of, I think, 16 districts of Western Province is only happening in 10 of them. Mongu, Limulunga, Senanga, Sioma, Shangombo, Nalolo, Skongo, Kalabo, Lukulu, Mitete. And these districts have the good condition for cashew growing. Cashew can grow anywhere, but it doesn't like clay soils and also frost. So the conditions under Western is favoring the growing of cashew, but it doesn't mean that cashew can't grow anywhere else. So on the rehabilitation side, this is where we are working hand in hand with the farmers that have old trees which were planted some time back. And the one way of trying to bring these plantations to production is through activities like spraying them against diseases. And as you know, most of these trees have just grown like bushes. They were not being pruned. And they have a lot of diseases. In Western, powdery mildew is quite a prominent disease, and it affects the fruiting. When the cashew trees flower, most of the flowers are affected, and it ends up with most of the flowers aborting, and you don't get the nut from them. Then planting of new trees is critical for us, because this is what is going to increase the hectareage and later increase the yields from the trees within the province, so that we have enough quantity to cover for both small scale and large scale industries in the cashew processing. Next. Hello, next. So the whole project is targeting 60,000 households, and women, out of that 50% is supposed to be women and 38% men, with the 12% youth. But the reality as at now on the ground is that, you know, the planting of cashew historically, it has been more for men. But we are working together with the CIDP to ensure that a lot of women are also participating on planting cashew. To this effect, BRE, the Barros Royal Establishment, for instance, in Nalolo, have given land so that women can participate. You know, as you know, that the access to land for women is usually a challenge, but the BRIs in the different districts have made a deliberate effort to give land so that women can participate in growing cashew. Next. Then this is just holistically what we are supposed to achieve. Although we came late on the scene on the project, we only had the contract the end of 2018, and by January 2019, that's when we set up base in Mongu and started the activities. But we, like on the seedling production, what we produced last year was almost above half of 60,000 households. And we hope that this year, with the production that we'll do on seedlings, we will surpass the 60,000 household target. Next. So this is just also to give you an example of the activities on the rehabilitation of existing plantations. As I said, spraying is very critical at this stage. Not only spraying, but also pruning. Those trees that are planted need to be pruned. Bigger trees also need to be pruned so that you reduce unnecessary branches that have a disease. So our approach for spraying trees is that we pick community members and train them on how do the spraying, the operations of the mist blower, the mixing of chemicals, and also when not to spray. So this skill is quite strong as at now. From last year, even this year, we sprayed again. So the knowledge on how to spray and when to spray is becoming evident among community members and camp officers. Next. Next. Instead of trying to have centralized nurseries, our approach is to have community nurseries where cashew seedlings are produced and then planted by members of the community within there. What that does is that you are also bringing the skills on nursery management to the community, because we pick on community members as nursery operators, do the training on how to prepare the polythene pot, soil mixing, pre-germination arrangements, and how to manage in the nursery. So this has been very successful last year. We had a total of 323 community nurseries spread in the 10 districts. And also, as you know, this is a government project. The district commissioners and also the district agricultural offices have been very supportive and working together with us. Last year, we were able to achieve the seedling production. Next. So that's a summary of our production for last year, 2019-20 planting season. Basically, we had a total of 3.1 million polypods planted. Then out of that, there was some losses on germination. We ended up with 2.9 million. And then when it reached the seedlings distributing, we reached at 2.6. That is exactly what was planted. Some of the losses were basically due to handling on the way. And this is what we want to address this year, to make sure that the seedling demand from the districts is aggregated, and we make sure we reduce on the distance of transportation. In some districts it's easy, but districts like Mitete, Shangombo, the moment it starts raining, you find that most of the places are flooding. Actually, the photo in this slide is from Mitete. That's a camp officer in the protective clothing, basically distributing using a canoe. So out of what we did last year, we have covered the 38,000 households out of the 60,000. That's why I'm saying that with our production this year, we will surpass the projected number of households in the project document of 60,000. Next. Okay, this is a complete, okay, there's a lot of figures there, but the basic issues is that the seedlings that we produce, there are people, RP is replanting, then gap filling, and then new planting. For new planting is where someone has virgin land, they have just prepared, they are newly establishing. Then for replanting is those maybe who planted the previous season, some trees died, and then they have to replace them. And in gap filling is where you have old plantations, maybe certain trees died a long time ago and you need to replace. So, but in all, this is the total production that we had last year. Next. So that's the summary of seedling distribution by category for new planting. Much of the seedlings was on the new planting and some percentage on the replanting and gap filling. Next. Then you also by field type, those are the hectares that were covered. But new planting, new establishments still topping on the category. Next. So the short-term impact from our perspective is that you know, the training of communities on spraying has also really made the communities understand the importance of spraying and how it leads also to good fruiting of the cashew trees. Also, the presence of the nurseries in the communities has also made the communities get motivated, because, you know, let's say you ship seedlings from Lusaka to Kalabo, you know, people receive it, but really they don't understand even how they were raised in the nursery. But when you have community nurseries in their locality, people are more motivated, because each day they pass there, oh, they're not yet ready. Okay, you know, that motivation is very important at community level, because it brings the confidence that yes, these seedlings are for us. Next. Next. Also on the environmental side, you know, these cashews that we are planting are also improving the forest cover. Most of the farmers, small scale, are basically intercropping. Where there is cassava, that's where they plant. Maybe where they had maize in the previous years, then they want to plant cashew. We have not had major knocking down of forests to plant at small farmer level. And this is quite positive on the environment. But also, as you know, we do some spraying and whatever, and the management of these chemicals at community level poses a risk, but we have put in place some sensitizations on how to dispose of these chemical containers. And we are seeing a positive mindset, because people now feel this cashew is going to improve their lives in the few years to come. Ideally, if you are using seed, you are planting from seedlings which come from seed, direct seed. Basically 3 to 4 years, the cashew will start fruiting. Even the grafted ones, at 3 to 4, they start fruiting. But after that, then you have consolidation of production. Next. Next. In summary, what we are saying is there have been various attempts by the First Republic. Then there was privatization, and the companies that were in charge of cashew were privatized, and the owners decided to do other things. As the ETG, we are committing ourselves that if we can plant good quality cashew plants in the field, the future in terms of the quality of nuts will be good. And even putting up those who would want to put up large-scale processing facilities, there will be enough nuts to go around. Right now, if you put a big processing plant, you may just operate for a month or two, and then you send workers on leave, and that's not good. For now, the small-scale producers are processing, but we are looking at a situation where there is massive nut production and good factories to give employment to the people in the cash industry. So this is our motivation, and we are positive as ETG that we are going to achieve this. In few years to come, people who felt that cashew is just a waste of time for them they will realize that the money is there. We have enough examples in the region, Tanzania, Mozambique. The cashew industry is contributing a lot, even in terms of foreign exchange earnings. This is who we are, and we are determined, and we are going to achieve it together with the other stakeholders, government, BRI. We are determined to achieve this. Thank you very much.
Mr. Nyambe, thank you very much for your presentation, and viewers, thank you for tuning in and listening. We ask that you direct any questions on the Woover platform, and Mr. Nyambe, we ask that you just continuously check on the Woover platform for any questions that people may ask. Thank you very much for your presentation, sir, and thank you, ETG.
Thank you. Now, ask yourself, why are you